Hello and welcome to The Drift. I'm your host, Sierra Goodwill. Let's get right to our From the Cast, a bit of information from one of the industry's fastest growing boating podcasts, The Drift Podcast. And this time, John chats with one of the country's leading great white shark experts, and he reveals the true nature of these mysterious predators and the story behind their resurgence.
Here at The Drift, we call him the Shark Doc. Here he is again, Greg Skomal. Greg, how are you?
Hey, John, it's good to be back. I'm doing great.
All right, so Discovery and HBO and all the big networks, and of course, The Drift. We like to think that, you're a friend.
Yeah, well, you're right up there with those others, that's for sure.
So shark activity this year, it seems like every year. It's the worst season for shark activity. Is that the case? You're tagging away, clearly.
We are tagging, John, but I'm going to be really honest and tell you that, the shark activity you're hearing is largely media driven. We've been out 4 times, 5 times. We've only tagged 5 sharks, off the coast of Cape Cod. So shark activity is not as active as the media wants you to believe.
August comes around, people start watching Jaws or having these in-water viewings of Jaws, and everybody out of the water. Not the case. So you feel that the shark activity in this area, in the Cape Cod, New England area, is about normal?
Yeah, it's, I would even say a little below normal. Usually by early August, I'm seeing a lot more activity, and we're not. So that remains to be seen what happens.
How large are these sharks? What size sharks are we talking about here?
We primarily work with sharks in the average range of 9 to 12 feet. And I've tagged them all the way up to about 18 feet long.
How big is the mouth on that shark?
Oh, I guess like this,
Yeah, that'll do it.
They're really large. They're well equipped to attack and kill seals, which is their primary prey when they're hunting off Cape Cod.
Yeah, and we know the seal population is certainly up right now. Yeah, when you see 300 or 400 seals out there, it's sort of a seal buffet for the sharks and the bigger fish, right?
Yeah. But it's not easy for the sharks to kill the seals. I mean, they have to hunt close to shore. The Cape Cod's a very challenging environment for them. There's a heavy surf in some areas. There's shifting sandbars, really shallow water, poor visibility. And so, those kinds of conditions make it incredibly challenging for white sharks to successfully feed on seals.
Yeah, you've spent some time chasing shadows, and that'll segue into chatting about your incredible new book. It's a fascinating read. It's Chasing Shadows. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's a book I didn't think I would write until after I retired, but with the urging of a literary agent named Susan Canavan, and with the assistance of a phenomenal writer named Rhett Talbot, I did this much sooner than I thought I would. And it really is about the trajectory of my career, my life, growing up as a kid who wanted to study white sharks, to being able to actually do that while talking about the history of white shark research. What happens when you restore white sharks to an area and they overlap with humans, talking about shark attacks, the complexity of managing species like seals and sharks, all through the eyes of my life. And it includes a number of stories about research on other shark species. And it doesn't read, like a textbook. It reads, I think, more like an adventure, and which my life has been.
I would agree. It certainly does.
Well, I think, what we've been able to do, the first study done on white sharks in terms of their natural behavior in the Atlantic was way back in 1979. A researcher from Woods Hole, the real Mad Hooper, I like to call him, Frank Carey, he tracked a white shark for 3 days. And that was it. That's all we knew since 1979. And over the course of the last decade, we've exploded the knowledge about white shark behavior over multiple scales. Not only what they do from year to year in terms of their migratory patterns, but also what they do from, week to week, day to day, hour to hour. And now we're diving into what they're doing from second to second. And to see that, and to reflect on it, it makes me really proud and very positive, because what's happening is, we're seeing the restoration, the successful restoration of a natural ecosystem. Yeah, it has repercussions, but the risk of those repercussions is really low. And we're seeing, actually conservation succeed. And that's as good as it gets as far as I'm concerned. To be part of that is as good as it gets.
Dr. Greg Skomal, thanks for being with us. Thanks to you and your team. Continue to chase shadows, because you're doing amazing work. We call him the Shark Doc. Thanks for being our friend. Thanks for joining us, Greg.
My pleasure, John. Always great to hang out with you.
To get your copy of Chasing Shadows, visit driftsociably.com or @driftsociably on social media.